Hi, I'm Amanda from Life Unravelled, and we're here to discuss language development. One of the things that we really want to avoid, especially when we're talking about kindy and going into school, because next year they will be in school. Now, everyone's talking about bullying, and there is certain definitions of bullying, and it's not just teasing, but what we can find is sometimes if children don't have a clear speech, they're more inclined to be teased by other children, and that makes them feel really awful, and we really don't want that to happen for our little ones. So helping them with their language really can reduce the risk of those bullying and those teasing aspects happening when they're with their peers. Being able to say the ends of words is also really important. So we spoke about the beginnings of words and those sounds that sometimes can be missed. They can also be missed at the ends of words. And again, that will help with their spelling when they're reading. It also helps with their reading as well, for them to be able to understand what the sound is that they're saying. Because at the end of the day with their reading, they already speak fluently. So they know what a sentence contains because they can say the sentences themselves. So when they're reading, they're expecting those language features to be in there. And if they start reading and they don't have the ends of the words, then they really find it difficult to go through and decode the whole reading sequence. So those are the sorts of things these are the reasons why we really have to look at language development and make sure that our children can speak clearly and be understood by other people. Now, we've already spoken about things that you can do to help your child. One of the other things that is great to do is to get them to look in a mirror, and you stand beside them and you both together say the sound. So you could go ooh, and you can see how the shape of your mouth is, or ah, and you can see how the shape of your mouth is for that. E, I, O, U. And you can exaggerate those a little bit for them. That's such a fun game. They love doing it, especially if they come into the bathroom while you're putting your makeup on. They can sit beside you and they can watch you, and you can start just doing a couple of different sounds with them. A lot of these things that we're doing and we're teaching our children are done in a matter of seconds. It's just a matter that you understand what you need to get across to them, and then just enjoy and have fun, and just take those moments that you can start to teach them those little bits. And that's the best part of having a child, is to be able to impart that knowledge to them, and for them to really have a satisfying and a wonderful experience with learning. Another thing that I love doing is letting them tell stories. Get them to tell stories. 4-year-olds love it. Sometimes they don't know the difference between a lie and a truth, but they love stories. So make sure that when they're telling their stories, you don't interrupt them, but you could ask a question after the story that includes one of the words that they need to sort of fix up. And in this way, you're not only showing them that you're interested in what they're saying and that you've listened to what they're saying because you're reiterating back their story, but it also helps them to understand what the sounds are that make up the words. One of the most important things that you shouldn't do is tell them that they're wrong. As soon as you tell a child that they're wrong, what happens is that they close down, they don't want to know what's happening, and they'll walk away. And that's really sad if that happens, because their self-esteem goes down and they feel really deflated. Now, I'm not saying that you should never tell a child that they're wrong. What I'm talking about specifically is language. So if a child comes up to you and goes, "Thank you," then you don't say, "That's not how you say it." You would say to them, "Oh, thank you. I love how you do that. Can you say thank you?" And when they then come back and say thank you, you just leave it. If they haven't got it right, you just leave it. But the more you repeat it back to them, then they'll start to hear that sound. Now, if they do not have very good hearing, sometimes they have muffled hearing because of ear infections, or they might need grommets, or there's a whole myriad of ear problems, and the ear problems can affect the way that a child speaks. So if you're finding that your child has multiple issues with how they're speaking, and that other children speak a lot clearer, or the sounds that they should have that we went through earlier, they just don't have those sounds, maybe it's time to go to the doctor and talk about a hearing test, or go and see if you need to go to an ear, nose and throat specialist. These sorts of things are proactive ways that you can help your child with their education. And being able to hear the sound correctly means that those children will be able to then articulate that sound. But if they can't hear it correctly, or they're hearing it very differently, then they'll never be able to articulate that sound back to you. Seeking professional advice is absolutely imperative when you're looking at your kids. The earlier you can get any intervention, the better. So what professionals can actually help with speech? Obviously, a speech therapist would be your first port of call, but occupational therapists and sometimes educational consultants can help your children work out what they need to do, or can help you to help your kids work out how to move their mouth and move their jaw in a way to make the sounds, and their tongue. So if they can't say all these sounds, or they're having a lot of trouble saying the sounds that they need to be able to say by the time that they're turning 5, make sure that you go and get some advice. It's very, very important. And you'll find that they'll grow in confidence the better that they're understood by other people. Thank you for listening to part 2 of language development. Have a great time with your kids. They grow up way too quick. We'll look forward to seeing you in part 3. Catch you later. Bye. This video was produced by Imagination Pty Ltd for Life Unravelled. All advice and information given during this course is designed for general use only. If you have any concerns for your child, please seek professional advice as soon as possible. For terms and conditions, please see website www.lifeunravelled.com.